Hello, it's so good to see you. Now, I understand that you're here because you're interested in getting better with your speaking voice. Now, that's definitely something I can help you with. I have a degree in radio, television, film, and a good part of my training was in voice. I've also been a voice actor for the last 20 years and a live performer. And that's the last part that we're particularly going to work with today, because I understand you may have some public speaking coming up in the near future. Depending on which survey you look at, many people list fear of public speaking above death in their list of fears. So I just want you to know you are not alone on this. With a little bit of training, it will help give you confidence that you can get out in front of other people and really give a great performance. Now, what I want you to remember, when you're using your voice, it is a muscle. Now, of course, I'm talking about your vocal cords as a muscle, but I want you to remember that everything to do with your voice is connected. Your jaw, your lips, your tongue, even your teeth, things you don't really think about, are incredibly important in speaking. And so what I'm going to go through today are just a few exercises that will help warm you up and get you ready for that first public performance, okay? Now, what I have seen when people first get up, it's like a runner just waking up in the morning, putting their shoes on, and just running as fast as they can. That's a terrible idea. Even if you don't do advanced stretching, you should at least stretch out a little bit. And that's exactly what you have to do with your voice as well. Especially if your talk is going to be earlier in the morning, your face needs to be stretched. So what I want you to do first is repeat after me. I want you to bring your jaw down with a M sound like this. Ma, ma, ma. And I want you to feel the joints where your jaw is actually connecting to your skull. It goes ma, ma, ma. Don't be surprised if the first few times you do that, it might even crack a little bit, because those muscles just don't get stretched. When you're just kind of talking throughout the day, you're moving your jaw, of course, constantly, but just these little tiny movements. And so if you need to make a big talk, you're not able to do that. And you can actually see this. Also, when people are nervous, they have a tendency to clench their jaw. And so this will help you not do that by having your jaw be loose. So that's the first one, is the ma. And even doing it just a few times will be immensely helpful. Now, before I go forward, a lot of these things seem very silly. And you're not going to want to do them because nobody likes to look silly. So I want you to know you can do it while you're driving to the event. You can do it when you're in the bathroom. You can do it when you're off to the side. You don't have to do this in front of other people. And even if you absolutely have to be in front of other people right before you do it, just do it silently. Just with your head turned, it's still going to help you. Now, the next part, we've talked about the jaw, is your lips. And those have many different functions. And if your lips are not properly limber, it becomes a tendency for you to slur your words. And so what you want to do is kind of a ma, ma. So it's a M sound, but it's like you're doing a cartoon kiss, like you're a cartoon character about to give a kiss. It's a ma, ma. And of course, this is going to work in conjunction with the other one. It's going to actually really help you to be more comfortable. Now, that is a great beginning, both of those. So what I would like you to do is to do both of those exercises before you give a talk, and then to really think about your diction. When people get nervous, they have a real tendency to kind of run all the words together and kind of blur everything together, and it just kind of doesn't, it's all kind of, and it's just blah, 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 like that. It's not really great for a public talk. So what you want to do is you want to think about your diction. And my favorite one for that, there are countless ones of these, by the way. I'm just giving you a few quick tips so you'll be ready for your talk, is to say, unique New York, unique New York. You know you need unique New York. And it forces you to say that correctly. If you do not say it correctly, it all kind of bumbles onto itself. So that unique New York, it forces your body to say it correctly. The other one that I like very much is red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, yellow leather, red. Red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, yellow leather, red. And if you do those two, the unique New York and red leather, yellow leather, together, those two will really help your diction. If you do it just right before, it just kind of sets your whole face for that. Now, speaking of your face, it's not just your face when you're giving this talk. It's your body as well. You need to make sure that your legs are at least a little apart. If your legs are very close together, you'll have a tendency to kind of drift to one side or the other, kind of stumble. Your legs can be like this. Now, it's okay. You're not supposed to stand like you're a soldier or a robot. It's okay to kind of relax into one side and relax into the other, depending on what kind of talk you're giving. If you're on a podium, it's okay to use that podium. If you're giving a talk in front of a group, it's okay to walk around if you have the microphone. But what you don't want is an excessive amount of back and forth. A little bit is actually fine because that's the way humans are. But constantly it makes people nervous to watch you. And so I want you to be aware of that. Now, the final thing is, if you are talking to a group, the odds are very good that you're going to have a microphone. But if you don't, you are going to have to be able to project your voice. Most people do not project their voice. So don't feel bad if this feels strange to begin with, okay? What I want you to know is that this is coming from your diaphragm. Now, when I'm talking to you right now, I am not projecting my voice, because if I was projecting my voice at you right now, it would be almost like shouting at you, which I'm, of course, not doing. But if you're talking to people, it's called talking for the back. You have to talk for that last person in the back of the row. Now, there are lots of different exercises for this, but there's one that I find particularly effective, because they always tell you to talk from the diaphragm, but what does that mean? Most people have no idea what it means to talk from the diaphragm. So what I want you to do, I want you to imagine that your voice is a baseball. Your voice is a baseball. And what you are doing is you are grabbing hold of that baseball and you are throwing it to the back of the audience. And you're going to do this phrase, "Hey, Jane." Now, that is not throwing my voice, but now listen to this. "Hey, Jane." That is coming from my diaphragm. "Hey, Jane." Imagine that you're grabbing a hold of it from inside and you're throwing it outwards. "Hey, Jane." Practice that a few times. You'll be really pleasantly surprised when you find that that's how well that's working for you. So if you are working without a microphone, now if you are working with a microphone, you don't want to be doing that. What you want to focus on more with a microphone is you want to focus on your diction. And here's the hardest part. Slow down. Now, with the possible exception, there are a few people who just naturally talk very slowly. It doesn't seem like that's you. For everyone else, what I want you to do is slow down, because when you're up in front of a crowd, it gets you very nervous and you start to talk more quickly and you start talking more quickly and then you talk more quickly and. And so what I want you to do is just think about a measured response. And whatever phrase you need to do, what I like to do is to say, the rain in Spain falls mainly on the plain. Because that is something that if you say quickly, it sounds weird. The rain in Spain, it just doesn't work. And so you can say, the rain in Spain falls mainly on the plain. And if you say that, if you're having trouble talking quickly, before your talk, say that out loud. And what you're going to find is that if you stretch that jaw, ma, is that if you stretch those lips, me, ma, me, and that if you learn to throw that voice, hey, Jane, and that if you slow down, the rain in Spain falls mainly on the plain, that you work on your diction. What you understand is that you are now preparing. You are now ready to give this talk. Now, of course, practice talking out loud, practice in front of a mirror, do all of those things. But if you do these few things, it's going to help you immensely. One final thing. Make sure you have some water nearby. When you get nervous, it can trigger your adrenal response, which is why people feel butterflies in their stomach. The adrenaline is actually causing your body to draw blood from your non-essential areas, which includes your mouth, includes your fingertips, includes your stomach area, which is why you feel butterflies in your stomach, why you feel numb in your fingertips. It's also why your mouth goes dry. And so if that starts to happen, just make sure you've got a little bit of water, and you can stop at any time at a point. Take a little sip and continue. That will get you going where you need to go. Good luck. I think you're going to do great.